Hey guys, Mason again here with another watch review. These are all watches from my personal collection that I've accrued over the years. So today I'll be reviewing the Bulova Precisionist Chronograph. Um, so here we go. This watch actually did come in all the original packaging, which is kind of neat. So here it is. So I'm going to spend a little bit more time on the packaging. There's a sticker on there, blah blah blah. No price listed, which is kind of nice. You know, you don't have to worry about ripping it off then, unless that bothers you. And then there's this white protective cover over top, so you take that off, and here's the Bulova box. Very nice box, like a presentation one almost. So here is the watch itself. The top, actually, it's important to note that the top, see, there's like a little hole there, and you pull this foam out here, and there's a manual, instruction manual with the Bulova name on it there. And then there's the hang tag actually for the watch. So that would have been on the actual watch. It just says Bulova and then the model number, I guess, right there. And then actually I keep the extra links that I didn't use in the box there. So, you know, the main thing that drew me to this watch is that it's an ultra high frequency quartz. So yeah, it's a quartz watch, and I think it has 2 quartz crystals inside of it, which make it an ultra high frequency. I think it's like 262 kilohertz or something, and that's just how fast the quartz crystal vibrates. And the faster the quartz crystal vibration, the more accurate the watch will be. So, there we go. So here, let's take it out of this. There we go. Okay. So, a very interesting thing about this watch is that the quartz, or the crystal, it's a mineral crystal, but it's actually domed. It's curved, actually. It's hard to see in the video here, but in person it's pretty easy to see, and it gives the dial a very unique look, and when you're reading it, a very, very unique depth. So moving along to the bracelet, it's actually 3-toned. There's like a brushed, like a shiny, and then like a matte tone to each of the steels. So there's kind of 3 colors of steel in there, which makes it really unique. And see, each one catches the light in a different way. So it makes it very, very unique. It does pick up fingerprints pretty easily, but you know, that doesn't really matter. The face has these, I don't think they're functioning, but they're little like hex screws kind of set into the corners of the case here. And it makes it very interesting. I don't think they do anything. You can't unscrew them, as far as I know. And I wouldn't try if I were you. And the bezel is kind of knurled. It has a very, you know, like grippy texture to it. It doesn't rotate or anything. And then there's ticks across the bezel here too. And the bezel's shiny, which is neat. And it's very, very thick too. I'd say it's maybe like, I don't want to give you a wrong millimeter measurement there. It was pretty high though. It's pretty thick. And what else? So there's going along the outside here. There's a screw down crown with the Bulova logo engraved into it right there. And then it has 2 pushers here, and then actually one over here as well. And they each do a different thing. This watch is water resistant to 300 meters, and it actually lists it in yellow on the dial there. It's 300 meters water resistant, with the screw down crown, and it also has a diver's extension built into the bracelet. So you know, you just flip this little guy out like that, and then that part's the diver's extension. So it's supposed to go over your wetsuit when you go diving, and then when you're done diving, you can snap that back in, and it's ready to go back on your wrist. I will say it looks it looks really huge on the wrist. I'm actually getting rid of mine for that reason. It's just way too big for my wrist, but some people out there will appreciate it, and it's a great watch. The movement is rated to plus or minus 10 seconds a year, so it's a high accuracy quartz movement. So that's really impressive to me. 10 seconds a year from just a regular quartz movement. That's awesome. So I'm going to be missing out on that accuracy, but. So and then there's the Bulova logo there on the clasp. It's comfortable for a big watch, especially. It's very comfortable. It has a push over clasp, and then you push these buttons in on the side to lift it up. Let's get into the timekeeping features of the watch. So it has 4 subdials in total. It has actually this watch. Another really cool feature of it is that it can count down to the thousandth of a second using the chronograph. So that's actually what this button on the side here does. Is it switches the watch from timekeeping mode to chronograph mode. And you'll also notice if you look closely that it doesn't tick like a normal quartz watch. If I hadn't said it was quartz, you might not know because the seconds hand sweeps. It's a very smooth sweeping seconds hand. Especially, on a quartz watch. So that's another really cool thing. But if I flip this little guy, push that in, the seconds hand spins around, and then it will stop at 0 to let you know it's now in chronograph mode. There we go. And then this top button here is start and stop. So I'm going to start it for you. So you'll notice in this subdial, it seems like the white hand is just spinning. But if I stop it, you'll notice that there's a yellow hand too. See, there's also a yellow hand, and that indicates both the tenths and hundredths of a second. So, and then you also notice once it's in chronograph mode that the seconds tick. They kind of sweep to each different, from second to second, and they stop on each tick. So that's how you know you're in chronograph mode. And also, I'll let this run because after 30, I believe it's 30 seconds of continuous chronograph measuring, the subdial up there, that will stop and just stop at 0. So here we go. It's going to just stop at 0. It might be a minute. There we go. Yeah, so it was after 30 seconds of continuous chronograph monitoring. So now that will stop, and then when I depress the start-stop button again, it flips around to the seconds. So you'll know that I just timed 46 seconds, 2/10ths of a second, 1/100th of a second, and 4/1000ths of a second. The thousandths of a second are listed down here. And that hand doesn't actually move until you stop the chronograph, and then it will display how many thousandths of a second have just expired. And the white hand up at the top, the white hand in the subdial indicates how many tenths of a second, and then the yellow subdial, or the yellow hand on that subdial indicates how many hundredths of a second, and then the yellow one down here indicates the thousandths of a second. And then minutes are shown right there, and then it can also time up to 12 hours. So the hours are shown over there. So I could time 11 hours, 59 minutes, 59 tenths of a second, 15, that number, the highest number of thousandths of a second too, everything like that. So that's another, really neat feature of this watch. And the accuracy, I have to say, has been good as far as I've had it. I keep track of it as compared to my atomic radio controlled or GPS controlled watches, and I have to say it's keeping great time so far. And let me reset the chronograph so you can see that. So the hands just spin back to 0. So yeah, that's a quick overview of the Bulova Precisionist Chronograph. The dial is carbon fiber, which is very nice. See, you can see there's like a carbon fiber inlaid dial there, and then there's also it's not mother of pearl. There's like a ring, if you can see that ring around. It's very shiny. It's not mother of pearl, but it kind of reminds me of that. And then there's also there's a tachometer, I guess. It just looks like a big tool watch, basically, tool slash diver watch. It's awesome. I highly recommend it, especially if you're into high accuracy quartz. I would get the newest model you can, though, because I've heard there were issues with the older precisionists in the past, that they haven't been as accurate. They fell out of the 10 second per year range. But that 10 seconds per year also depends on like how much you wear it, because it's not thermocompensated. If you go thermocompensated, they're going to cost you way more. Like the Citizen, the Chronomaster or something like that, or like some Grand Seiko or something. That's going to cost you a lot more. This I actually picked up used or not even used. I think it was new. It came with, it came with all the packaging and everything on the crystal, and it was still wrapped up, and I got it for $360. So definitely not bad at all. Especially for that price, I highly recommend it. Let me just put it on for you, just so you can see how big it is on the wrist. Please don't fall. Okay. Yeah, there we go. It is a very big watch. Look at that. Huge. Look at. If you're just wondering, what it looks like, or compared to my, look how dwarfed it looks. It's huge, but it's a great watch. And if you like that, if you don't mind that big look or anything, I'd go for it. Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for more videos. Thanks, guys.